Okay, so for 28 straight days, I was having this private conversation with my AI about what I thought was a personal failing. Asking things like, why do I feel so inadequate trying to speak in other languages? Why does my brain feel like it's just decaying at work? Then on day 29, just one question completely flipped the mirror from looking inward to looking outward. And that's when I found my ghost in the market. And that one question, how many other people feel this way? It just blew the doors open. What felt like my own secret shame turned out to be this massive documented phenomenon. I mean, just look at this. This is just a tiny snapshot. Get this. 68% of expats feel anxiety speaking non-native languages. 1 in 5 workers, 1 in 5 constantly worries about communication. And this feeling, it's so common that it fuels a $90 billion industry trying to fix it. But data points on a chart, they don't really capture the feeling, do they? The feeling is what actually matters, and this is where the work of anthropologist David Graeber is so incredibly important. He interviewed all these people in what he called bullshit jobs, and one of them just perfectly articulated this psychological weight. This quote on the slide, wow, it just nails that feeling. A series of meaningless gestures he had to perform in order to prove himself worthy of a respect he did not deserve. That's the ghost, right there. That feeling that your whole performance is just a hollow act. And Graeber wasn't just collecting stories. A YouGov poll he pointed to found that 37% of workers in the UK were pretty sure their job made absolutely no meaningful contribution to the world. Think about that. This isn't some individual failing. It's a documented feature of the modern workplace. A huge chunk of the workforce feels this deep disconnect between what they do all day and what actually matters. And this brings us right to the heart of this entire explainer, a pattern I'm calling the projection shift. It's that mental flip, that exact moment you go from asking, what is wrong with me, to asking, wait a second, how many of us are there? It's the moment a personal pathology clicks into place as a recognized global pattern. This shift, it seems to happen in 3 distinct stages. First, we pathologize it. We treat the feeling as our own personal, shameful defect. Second, we document it. We use a tool, in this case an AI, as a kind of mirror to just articulate the pain, to give it words. And then finally, recognition. We flip the search outward to find others, to actually see the true scale of it all. And this slide, this just illustrates that shift perfectly. Just look at the syntax, the actual words I was using. For 28 days, my prompts treated the AI like a therapist. Why do I feel this way? What's wrong with me? The focus was 100% on just coping. Then, bam, day 29. The AI becomes a co-founder. The prompts instantly change to, how many people feel this? What's the market size for this problem? The focus immediately shifts from coping to scaling. So, okay, once the mirror flipped outward, what did it actually find? Well, this is where we get to give the ghost a name, using all the academic and market data that was just sitting there waiting the whole time. For me, the trigger was something researchers call foreign language anxiety, or FLA. And as you can see here, this isn't just about being bad at grammar. Not at all. It's a real documented anxiety. Even people who are really good at a language feel like they can't be themselves, which makes them feel like they're losing status. And what happens? They pull back in meetings, innovation suffers, and it affects a mind-boggling 68% of expats. Of course, where there's that much pain, there's a market, a huge one. The soft skills market is on track to be worth over $92 billion. It's all built on selling communication skills, leadership training, all these interpersonal fixes. But as this slide asks, what is this entire massive market missing? And this is the critical part. This is what the market gets fundamentally wrong. It sees a skills gap, so it sells a solution for how to communicate better. But the real problem isn't a skills gap at all. It's a psychological mechanism they can't see. It's that internal feeling of your identity shrinking, a feeling like a lesser, smaller version of yourself. So that begs a huge question, right? If this feeling is so common and the market is so big, why on earth does it stay invisible? Why does it still feel like a personal secret for so many of us? Well, it turns out there are some really powerful cultural and cognitive traps that keep this pattern hidden. To get our heads around this, we can look at Neil Postman's incredible book, Amusing Ourselves to Death. He lays out this brilliant comparison. See, Orwell was afraid that we'd be ruined by some big, external, oppressive force. But Huxley, he was afraid of something far more sinister, that we would actually come to love our oppression, that we would adore the very things that stop us from being able to think clearly. This frames the modern workplace not as a prison, but as a very comfortable cage that we've all voluntarily stepped into. And our brains are actually wired to help us love that gauge. Daniel Kahneman's concept of cognitive ease explains this perfectly. Basically, our brain likes things that are familiar. If you repeat something often enough, no matter how absurd it is, it starts to feel true. So when everyone around you is performing the same meaningless gestures at work, your brain just defaults to accepting it as normal instead of questioning it. And that leads to the pivot point of this entire discovery, the one single sharpest question you can ask to just cut through all that cognitive ease. Did I move the needle or did I just move the mouse? It forces you to stop performing and start really thinking about the value of what you're doing. So this is it. This is the final reframe. Once you can see the pattern, you can stop seeing all that pain as a liability. Your ghost is your gold. It's time to start reframing that personal pain as a powerful competitive advantage. And the tool for this reframe comes from the investor and philosopher Naval Ravikant. He talks about something called specific knowledge. This isn't stuff you can learn in a classroom. It's knowledge that you gain through unique experience, often by chasing some genuine curiosity or by going really deep on a source of your own pain. And it's so valuable precisely because it can't be taught. And this is the light bulb moment. Your deep, painful, first-hand understanding of a broken system, that is a form of specific knowledge. You have a data set on the psychological guts of this problem that no market research firm could ever buy. You have lived it. Naval really drives this point home. He says, the study of signaling is seeing what people do despite what they say. While everybody else is performing, talking about synergy and deliverables, you understand the real human experience that's happening underneath it all. You know the true signals because you've felt them yourself, and that is the insight the market is completely missing. So seeing this pattern, getting this kind of clarity, it's not comfortable. It actually forces a choice. It leaves you with this uncomfortable obligation of what to do next, victim or founded. Let's just look at these two paths. Path number one is to keep seeing this as a personal problem. The cost there is that you'll keep trying to fix a systemic issue with personal solutions. The opportunity? Well, you get to stay a customer in that $90 billion market of fixes that don't really work. Path number two is to see it as a market gap. The cost there? You now have this difficult truth. You see the mechanism the market misunderstands. But the opportunity is to build real solutions based on an authentic, hard-won insight. At the end of the day, your ghost, that feeling of inadequacy, it isn't something you need to exercise or fix. It's the key. It's the pattern. It's you at scale. And let me be really clear. This realization doesn't magically make the feeling vanish. As this note admits, it took 3 seconds to find the stats. Accepting I had treated a global problem as a personal inadequacy for 28 days, that was harder. The anxiety is still there. The struggle is still very real. But the frame of that struggle has changed forever. It's no longer a private burden. It's a public puzzle. And that leaves us with this final question, one for you to think about in your own life. What if your documented defect is actually your competitive advantage? This whole idea of using AI as an external mirror, it's just so powerful. If you want to see how this journey of discovery really started, our previous piece, My Patterns Chose Before I Did, digs into how AI prompts can reveal the preferences we don't even know we have. It's the same mirror, just focused on a different angle of the self.